Oh, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be good. It never ends. I was just talking about Mark Robinson not too long ago. Of course, I've covered some other conservative figures, podcasters, YouTubers, of course, Republican politicians, what have you. And I'm scrolling through YouTube and I see this video from CNN that says GOP nominee to run North Carolina schools once called for Obama's execution. Now, I'm not going to lie. In the past, I have been guilty of jumping to a conclusion before I really dive into a story. But I said, you know what? Before I do anything about it, let me click on it first. Let me watch it. It's only a 5-minute video where Jake Tapper was talking to, what's his name? Andrew Kaczynski. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And it was sharing the screenshots of the stuff that she tweeted in the past. And recently, and then, okay, so I'm like, all right, let me go through this. Now, on her Twitter, and you can probably go to her Twitter in case you don't believe me, assuming that she didn't take it down because of the backlash that she received from it. She has a picture of Time magazine, and it's photoshopped with Obama sitting in what appears to be the electric chair. And she put underneath it, "Death to all traitors, #Obamagate." And by the way, I didn't even know they had the electric chair still. And apparently they still have it in 5 states: Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, Texas. Wow, I can't talk right now. Alabama, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida. So, death to all traitors. Let me fast forward this a little bit right here. Let me go to, now here's some stuff that she tweeted before. She says, "The left always blames us for the crimes they commit. Rewind to 2016. Every single accusation against Donald Trump was the leftists confessing. Thou dost protest too much. Time for justice and death to traitors." So, you mean kind of like how Trump and the Republicans, not every Republican, but a good number of them, how they were making this claim about how Joe Biden and the Democrats cheated the 2020 election just to get Trump out. And it turns out that he was involved in some stuff, Trump was, how he engaged in what appeared to be a fake elector scheme, and how you had Republican officials admitting that they were cheating for Trump. Well, that sounds like the complete opposite. It sounds like Trump accusing the Democrats of things is Trump confessing. This whole thing about the election lie and this whole thing about the election being stolen, which, by the way, let me digress for a few seconds just to mention this right here. In 2020, after the election was concluded, they did a recount in certain states because people on both sides kept saying, oh, this is illegitimate, or we didn't get. So Biden had won Arizona, and that was one of the states that they recounted. Guess what? The Republicans were the ones, the Arizona Republican Party, they were the ones who led the charge on doing the recount. They did an audit, and by the time they got done counting all the ballots, guess who ended up still winning? Biden. As a matter of fact, he came out with even more votes than what the initial number was. They did the recount in Nevada. Biden ended up winning that. Now, to be fair, in some states, they did a recount and Trump still ended up winning. So they did the recount in North Carolina, and Trump won that, which didn't surprise me because North Carolina is still more of a Republican state. And also Tom Tillis, who's a senator out there, he was, side by side with Trump. And so he won his race. And so all his supporters pretty much voted for Trump. That makes sense. I think they did a recount in Florida. Trump ended up winning that. They recounted Georgia. Biden ended up winning that. And Trump took over 60 cases to court. There were over 60 court cases. Trump lost every single case. Every single one. As a matter of fact, here's the one part that many of you don't know. The judges that told Trump that there wasn't enough evidence were judges that he appointed. Brett Kavanaugh, who he appointed in 2018. Amy Coney, who I think was appointed in 2020, I believe that was. I think that was Yes, it was 2020 because that was when Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed. And so Trump and McConnell had immediately moved to replace her, and they put Amy Coney on there. And these people are pro-Trump conservatives. And even they were saying there is not enough evidence, which is about the one thing that they said that was kind of right. Even Trump's own attorney general, William Barr, who is crooked and corrupt and bigoted and xenophobic and a war hawk. He worked with Bush Sr.'s administration. He pardoned the people who were involved in the Iran-Contra scandal under Reagan. Even that guy was saying, look, I wanted you to win, but, we know we don't like Biden, but, he kind of won this one, so I don't know, buddy. I just better luck next time or whatever. Trump couldn't take that well. He said, nope, that guy's a traitor. He's got to go. And it's like, there's no... So how is that the Democrats' fault? He lost his own election. He ticked off a lot of voters and he ended up losing. What else do you want? What else did she say here? Declassify everything. The deep state hates God, despises our Constitution, and purposely destroys human lives. Look, there are a number of people on the left who, and I would assume even some on the right, I don't know exactly how much. Yeah, you got a number of people out there who are atheists, but Democrat doesn't equal atheist, just like Republican doesn't equal Christian. You have liberal Christians. I'm sure you got conservative atheists. I'm tired of having that discussion and debate with people. It just happens. So I don't know. There's nothing that could be disclosed as more dangerous than what they are doing. Prosecute the criminals. No one is above the law. Well, what do you think's going on right now? So Michelle, that's her name, Michele Morrow. Look, Michelle, the guy that you are promoting for president is a guy who, and by the way, I don't even know the specifics and the details of every last thing, but even like the stuff before, like aside from the 4 indictments and the 90 charges, well, he was found liable in a sexual assault case with the E. Jean Carroll. He had to pay $5 million. I don't know if he actually paid the money because I know you got to go through appeals and all that stuff too. He was also found liable of fraud, and he's going to lose his business license, which means he can't practice business in New York. And apparently it had something to do with the fact that he was lying about the value of his property so he can get X amount from the banks, with all that type of stuff. What does that got to do with Democrats? That's his own wrongdoing. Now, again, to be fair, let's be clear on something. There is a difference. He hasn't been found guilty of anything yet. Let's be fair on that. So there is a difference between being found guilty versus being found liable. Guilty is you get convicted that's a criminal case where you're found guilty or not guilty. And usually that deals with stuff like, murder cases or rape cases or assault cases or kidnapping or things like that. Whereas with a civil case, it's like you get sued for something. So this wasn't like he was found guilty of rape. And I've said before, I don't put it past him, but he hasn't been found guilty of that, so we can't make that claim yet. But as of right now, yes, he's been found liable of fraud, liable of sexual assault, and now he's got 4 indictments and 90 criminal charges that deal with stuff with the January 6th, stuff with bribing the Secretary of State of Georgia when he was trying to ask the guy to dig up almost 12,000 votes so he could win. And there's the stuff going on with New York with the hush money payments to Stormy Daniels and all these other things going on. And this woman knows pretty well. She knows that if this was Joe Biden doing all this, she would be saying Joe Biden is the biggest criminal in America. But now it's your guy doing this. And by the way, there's also the documents case where, so Biden and Trump both had documents. I think Biden had 50 to 60 documents. And when they asked to get them, and he peacefully and civilly just turned it over to them. And Trump had around 150, 160, almost 200 documents, and he refused to give them over. Michelle, be honest. Well, you can't be honest. I don't know about that part, but just come on. So, of course, no one is above the law. So, and by the way, this country has a history of not prosecuting certain people who, again, nobody's above the law, but this country likes to pick and choose who's above the law and who's not. So Donald Rumsfeld and Henry Kissinger, they passed away and they never got to see a prison cell in their whole lives. Some of the biggest war criminals this country has seen. Dick Cheney's never going to see a cell. Karl Rove, those people. Also, a guy on your side by the name of Matt Gaetz has an allegation where he slept with a 17-year-old girl. Again, to be fair, it's not proven, but the fact that they're not looking harder into that is kind of disturbing. But I guarantee you, if he was a Democrat, he would either be in jail by now or at least be removed from Congress, either voted out or they have to, whatever the case may be, or he would resign because of the pressure, all that stuff. And by the way, we have a Democrat on our side by the name of Bob Menendez, who's a senator in New Jersey, who got caught up with all type of legal trouble. Now, I guess he's got caught up in these scandals with bribery or stealing money and things of all this stuff, or whatever the case is with that. And guess what? We Democrats are telling him, yes, step down because this ain't right. But here you have a guy with 4 indictments and you're saying, nope, he should be president. Michelle, really? Come on. You got one here that says Obama did it. Hillary did it. Adam Schiff did it. James Comey did it. Sally Yates did it. Eric Holder did it. Clapper did it. I forget who Clapper is. I think the name is James Clapper, but I can't think of who that is off top. Gates did it. I'm not really sure who Gates is. Is that, I don't know, Bill Gates? I don't know. Fauci did it. Okay, they all did it. Okay, Hillary did what? Deleted emails, whatever. Obama did what? Wear a tan suit or hide his fake birth certificate. Or I'm sorry, got elected president. Because, all right. I can't see. There's a couple of tweets that are blocked out right here because of the logo, so I can't read all of these right here. Let's see. Now let's fast forward. Let's go a little bit here. Hold up. What does it say one right here? Hold up. So this is what he says.
While repeatedly talking about executing prominent Democrats. Take a look at this tweet right here from May of 2020, where she's responding to someone who says they want to see Obama tossed in Gitmo. Morrow.
So Gitmo is Guantanamo Bay. That's the prison facility that the Bush administration opened. And here's what she said in response to that. She said, I prefer a pay-per-view of him in front of the firing squad. I do not want to waste another dime on supporting his life. We could make some money back from televising his death. Hashtag Obamagate. People, there's another video where I talk about my 20-state strategy and what Democrats should be doing in 20 states for this election and every election in general. And North Carolina is one of those states. There's a Democrat by the name of, I think his name is Mo Green, and he's running against her. We need to do our best to get that guy in there so that she can't get in there. I mean, look, I know this is the part where some conservatives and right-wingers are going to tell me, well, there's people on your side that said things and made death threats against George Bush and Donald Trump. You know what? I think that's absolutely right. And I got to tell you, for as much as I despise Bush and Trump, I'm completely against that too. You're not going to hear me say, yeah, execute Bush or execute Trump. I mean, yeah, I wish they were in prison. You know, people talked about Mitch McConnell should die and we're glad this person's dead and Donald Rumsfeld died and all this stuff. Listen, for as much as I despise a lot of these people, you're not going to once hear me. You haven't once heard me say, and you're not going to hear me say, I hate this person to the point that they should die or I want them killed or anything like that, because to me, that just goes too far. Now, I speak for a number of leftists when I say that. You have some other leftists that are so extreme that they'll just go like, nope, kill them all or just get. I'm not with that. So I'm not for any of it. I don't care about you saying that you hate them. You can hate Clinton, you can hate Bush, you can hate Obama, Trump, Biden, whoever. But when you talk execution, I mean, I don't know. I don't get that. I think some people need to go to therapy is all I can say. There's more from this one. I think I saw something else. Let me see. It says, never. We need to follow the Constitution's advice and kill all traitors. All right. So what? Let me see. I thought I just pulled something up here. Whoever owing allegiance to the U.S. levies war against them or adheres to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the U.S. or elsewhere, is guilty of treason and shall suffer death or shall be imprisoned, not less than 5 years and fined under this title, but not less than $10,000. This is chapter 115, treason, sedition, and subversive activities. So By that logic, so she's saying Obama is a traitor. She's saying Obama levied a war against the United States. How? I never saw that. Now, granted, I may not have been as politically attentive during the Obama years. Of course, I supported him both times he ran, but like I said, I was younger. It's just like, hey, I'm voting because I've always voted Democrat. Most of my family was Democrat. But even going back and looking and researching some of the stuff that was done under the Obama administration, which I think most of it is good. There is some bad there. I mean, bombing other countries and giving tax cuts to the wealthy, all that stuff. But when did he levy a war against the U.S.? And by the way, the stuff that they should be going after them for, as far as like, hey, increasing airstrikes and drone strikes and things like that, they're not going to go after them for that. You want to know why? Because a lot of those policies were continued from the previous administration. And guess who ran that administration? Republicans. Guess who ran the Republican administration from 2000 to 2008? It was Republican President George Bush. It was Republican Vice President Dick Cheney. It was Republican Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld. It was Republican Attorney General John Ashcroft. It was Republican Campaign Senior Advisor and White House Chief of Staff Karl Rove. And there were some other Republican figures up in there too, like Paul Wolfowitz and Scooter Libby and people like them. Michelle, did you call out any of the crimes and the stuff that was going on under that administration? Do you honestly think that it's just Trump we're going after and then everybody else is good? And I've said repeatedly on this show and I've posted repeatedly about how the Bush administration is roughly equally as bad as the Trump administration. I think there's some things about the Bush administration that are worse and others about the Trump that are worse, but that's a different story for a different video. That's going to add an extra 35 minutes. I'll save that for another video. I mean, come on, Afghanistan war, Iraq war, you know, the bombing of Syria and the weapons deal that the United States gives weapons to Saudi Arabia. They commit genocide in Yemen and attempting to coup these different places and opening up Guantanamo Bay, lying about weapons of mass destruction. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people had died between all those countries and all those activities combined. Promoting torture, things like that. All those things happen, and anything that happened between 2000 and 2008 was because of that administration. Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld, Ashcroft, Rove, they did that. But she's not going to say anything about that because I'm sure she likes those things. But then again, hey, that makes sense because here she is calling to execute Obama and them. Hey, we need to kill Obama. Hey, I support the administration. They killed people, even though it was what she's saying it is for the. So I saw something really good here. I saw something good. Where is it at? Where is it at? Death to traitors. I saw something here that was really good. Where is it at? Where is it at? Come on. Death to traitors. Come on. Come on. Oh, she said this. It won't be a long trip for them since tens of thousands of Chinese soldiers are already in Canada and probably Mexico waiting for orders to invade. Okay, so I just looked that up, and it says right here, according to Military Times, no, Chinese troops are not on the Canadian border, and the dangers of misinformation. Now, there's something here that says that you had some Chinese people that were in Mexico. I guess they were doing a parade or something last year. But people, I don't even know where to go with this because the fact that she's the nominee for superintendent in North Carolina, you know what it means to be the nominee? It means that you won the primaries and now you're the single person that's going to face off against the single person in the general election. So you have the primary election and you have the general election. In the primary election, which usually takes place anywhere between, say, March and August of every year, of every election year. Michigan is August. Some states, it differs. It varies depending on the state. I guess North Carolina is March. So you have a group of Democrats running on one side. You have a group of Republicans running on the other side. All the Democrat voters get together and they decide who they think is their best pick. And all the Republicans on the other side get together and they decide who their best pick is. And so the Democrats in North Carolina, they voted for Mo Green. So now he's the nominee and now he's going to be the one to face off in November. And the Republicans on this side, they picked Michele Morrow. So now it's Mo Green and Michele Morrow, and they're going to be going against each other. With everything that she has said right there, The fact that she won the nomination, you know what that tells me? It says more about her voters than it does her. Yeah, we hate Obama. He's a traitor. We don't even know why he's a traitor. But hey, she said he's a traitor, so I guess he is. So we're gonna vote for her. And I don't get it. I don't get it. I think this is the part where people are going to tell me, oh, well, she's just exercising the right to freedom of speech. You know, we have this thing called a constitution, and within that constitution, we have 27 amendments. And if you go to the First Amendment, it says freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion. So it's okay that she says it. And they also said the same thing about people expressing their freedoms and expressing their feelings when it came to them burning effigies of Obama. I want to know, and I'm pretty sure I can bet money on this one, but I want to know if those same people said the same thing when Kathy Griffin got in trouble for holding up the fake Trump head, the fake severed Trump head. I want to know, did they say that was freedom of speech? Did they say that was okay? Who, by the way, is a comedian who's not running for any office whatsoever, whose career got drastically affected, even though she's still standing and she still tours and whatnot. Did they say the same thing about her? Do they also say the same thing about many comedians who go up on stage and joke about various things that they don't like? They're exercising their freedom of speech. That's what Dave Chappelle talks about, but the media is hating on him because of that. Now he's arguably the most controversial comedian in the country right now. I mean, well, maybe with the exception of Cat Williams for blowing it up on Shay Shay interview, but so people, here's the takeaway. I need the people of North Carolina to really band together and really, really vote against this person. Get Mo Green in there. And yeah, would there be a quote unquote bloodbath, as Trump called it? Maybe, because she's going to do the same thing that Trump did. She's probably going to have her supporters go storming some building out in North Carolina. But you know what? The only reason why I say it's okay in the short term is because in the long term, guess what? Those people, just like the January 6th rioters, they're going to get arrested, prosecuted, and convicted, which means they go to prison for an average of 10 to 15 years. I think a couple of them went for 20 to 22 years, which means they won't be able to vote in the next few elections, which means voter turnout is going to be down on that side and up on our side. So by all means, keep on being as crazy and insane as you are, Michelle. Keep on being as crazy and insane as you are, all these other MAGA Republicans who are out there, Trump, Carrie Lake, Marjorie Greene, Lauren Boebert, Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan, all of you, Doug Mastriano, Blake Masterson, the lady who ran against Liz Cheney in Utah or Wyoming or wherever, I forget her name. Go ahead. Go right ahead. So people, that's that. This is what we're up against. Get out there and vote this November. Vote. Vote, damn it. Vote.